Good evening. I'm just going to get rolling here. Happy Monday Night Live. I am looking forward to sharing this little experiment with you tonight. I haven't, for the longest time, I thought I had showed this. We're going to talk about essential enzymes. I don't know if you can even see that. Goodness. Just one sec here. What's going on? There we go. Essential enzymes 4 and detoxime. So this particular live, I'm going to show you. I've got some oats, quick oats, and I'm going to show you. Everybody knows we have. Anyone remember the days when you'd have oatmeal and you could pretty much put the pot upside down and it wouldn't come out? Well, today I'm going to show you, and actually I'm just going to do this right now. So I've got a half a cup of oats because it said a half a cup or quarter cup oats to 1 cup of water. So I've got a quarter cup of oats to half a cup. So I'm just going to put that in here. So my hot water and the oats. So it was about this is the one I'm using. So what I'm going to do is show you today, when we talk about digestion. So right now I just put the water in and the oats. So just going to let that sit and hopefully, not hopefully. And then I'm going to show you what happens when you put digestive enzymes in something that will normally end up, just set this over here, will normally end up to be, like I said, the old school oatmeal in the pot that you turn it upside down and it literally doesn't come out. So enzymes, what are enzymes and why do they work the way they do? Or why do we need them, I should say. So enzymes are naturally occurring in the body as well as in your food. So bromelain, for example, is an enzyme that you get from pineapple. And then you get enzymes from papaya, which are actually 2 that while traveling, highly recommended you consume those while traveling because they break down toxins and parasites. So eating papaya when you're traveling to tropical places and every day, papaya and the seeds will help deal with parasites. I know, not really great, but that's typically where we do get them, okay? So the reason we need enzymes is because our body needs support in breaking down the foods that we eat. Enzymes that naturally occur in your body. So as children, we have them a lot, but then we grow up and we have stress. And when we eat yucky things and we have environmental toxins and we have all of those things that happen, that actually, and as we age, if you ever notice when you're around more mature people, that sometimes they end up eating a small piece of anything. Their plates used to be plump full and then they end up eating little bits and then they have a hard time getting, or they get full really fast. That's because they don't have as many enzymes to break down the foods so that their body can assimilate and absorb, okay? So that's one of the biggest things that happen as we age. We release or we lose enzymes. Stress happens, or different foods, processed foods, toxins, alcohol, smoking, really all the less than optimal habits, but that happens, right? So why do we need these digestive enzymes is to help, the glare, essential enzymes 4, okay? Don't mind, it looks like I've gotten in a fight with a cat, because I did. I didn't really get in a fight with it, but a cat. They're very affectionate and they climb on you. So what comes in these essential enzymes? These actually are a time delayed and instant delay, or instant delay, a time release and an instant release capsule. So when we put these digestive enzymes in our belly, it actually breaks down the food so that we can get all the foods that we eat. If some people are like, I really eat a lot and really a lot of good foods, and I don't seem to feel like healthier and stronger. I just don't feel like I'm getting enough. And you probably aren't. That's the thing. So when we think about digestive enzymes, it helps us kind of just rip things apart in the tummy, like all the foods. Proteins for people that have a lot of digestive discomfort, like bloating, unfortunately, gas, indigestion. And you think about nowadays, most people do have some form of digestive discomfort for me, growing up, I was born allergic to milk, I guess. I don't know, from until I can remember, milk and me were a no-go. That's when they introduced lactate pills and all that kind of stuff, was actually the enzymes to help you break it down. That's where some people can't do milk, but they can eat a little bit of yogurt, or they can do a little bit of cheese. That's because those enzymes have been processed and broke down a little bit more. They don't bother people as much as milk does. So lactase is the enzyme that helps break down the milk, the lactose sugar in the milk. So in these particular digestive enzymes that we have, the essential enzymes, you'll see when you look on the side of the box, it gives you all the enzymes that actually break down. The yellow one is the immediate release capsule. And it has like your amylase, which is like for your starches and carbohydrates and whatnot. Lipase, which is for your fats. And the rest of them are like your phytase. It's your phytate that comes in many fruits and vegetables that are very dark, and those need to be broke down so they actually get used by the body and don't block other minerals and vitamins to get absorbed into the body. And then they've got the essential oils: ginger, rosemary, tarragon, and fennel. And then on the other side is the delayed one, which is actually for the animal proteins, because the proteins that get digested, they get digested later on. And so for some people that have trouble with digesting certain foods, I highly recommend breaking up your food. Like, your food combinations can be a really big deal. So protein and starches don't go well together, especially if you have digestive discomfort. If you have that, don't combine those two together. Do like your proteins with your veggies, right? So if you want to have a grilled steak and a salad, do something like that together, instead of like, excuse me. And again, the steak and potatoes and salad meals, pretty traditional, pretty common. Most people can do pretty well, but if you can't, those food combinations aren't good. Your acid in your stomach, is what breaks down your proteins. So if you don't have that acid breaking down, if it's diluted by the starches, it then is kind of letting that protein ferment in your tummy. That's when sometimes you can get those, the bloating feeling and, gas, unfortunately, or you kind of like feel like you're out to here, and then just some down, just upset tummy sometimes, right? So that's when these are going to come in and be your saving grace. So you can lower your risk of malabsorption in a big way, because that means all that food that's going to break down is going to, here, I'm going to show you. Well, we're getting to the point where it's getting pretty thick, starting to really gel. I should have had the water maybe a little bit hotter, but so basically, when those digestive enzymes get put in, they're starting to reduce it. It's going to take out, the people that get your acid reflux. I don't know if that's compliant, if I'm allowed to say that, but you get the burps after. It's going to reduce that. It's going to help calm the digestive system and give you more comfort. There are some foods that you might just not do very well with, but if you're able to try these out first, then you're able to see how your body breaks it down. And with the plant-based enzymes, the white ones here, if you can see that, the white ones are the ones that actually, are there to simulate the phytases and the phytate, I should say, and some of the other ones that are just the fibers and the things like that. The other one, so the beans, there's another, I forget, it's a very long one. It's the alpha galactase enzyme that's included, is actually one that helps to break down beans. So, the more you eat, it's a magical fruit, right? The magical fruit. So the enzymes will help basically disengage that process of what happens in creating those gases. So quite often for people when they travel and their diets aren't the same, these are great. Just tear off the strips for how many meals you feel you'll have when you're going to be leaving, and take them with you. Or you can just throw a whole sheet or two instead of the whole box into your suitcase and just travel with them, right? Granted, maybe we're not traveling a lot, but if you still are eating out, if you at work, whatever you're having, if it tends to be something that gives you discomfort, you can't figure out why, maybe see if this is going to help, because most times it does, okay? there's a lot of stress in our lives right now, for the most part. We have to do the best we can by eat as much as fruit and vegetables and whole foods as you can, and cooked at a very minimal rate. So fruits and vegetables have a ton of natural enzymes with them. Like I said, the pineapple and the papaya, two great examples of really amazing enzymes naturally occurring. And by consuming those, it gives your body the right tools that you've probably unknowingly, most of us unknowingly, have zapped those enzymes because of stress, because of environment, what we're eating. Unfortunately, alcohol, cigarettes, like all those things are causing that damage. And of course, age. So, and if we haven't eaten enough of the good stuff, you're not going to be able to process that. And some people, maybe it is a gluten intolerance. So this, to begin with, if it's a place to start, this could help, right? So I actually probably put a little bit too much water. So I'm going to just take a little bit out just so we get that really sticky state of the oatmeal, which I think I did this experiment once before and didn't do as well. And my water wasn't as hot. So basically what you do is you take one off. The other one I wanted to tell you about and share with you, I'm going to do this as quickly as possible, but I'll give time for this one to settle out a little bit, is the detoxzyme. So everybody's like, well, when do you use that one? You've got the detoxzyme, Essential Zymes 4, which we have in Canada in the Canadian market. The detoxzyme, and again, you're going to see this as an older label, but this one is amazing. I'm just watching for my little guy too. He's just outside. This one is one that's on the US market. And I'll just show you what these look like. They're really small. Just take one out. Detoxzyme is absolutely amazing. That's how small they are. They're super tiny. I'll put it up against there. Super tiny. And basically what these do, they have, again, similar enzymes, but they help with the detoxification process. And in this case, there is the protease 3, 4, 5, and 6, I believe, in this one here. So that's a bit of your proprietary blend of enzymes, but that's to digest proteins. So if you've had trouble digesting proteins outside of doing your food combinations like I previously mentioned, you can maybe start with detoxzyme. So if you've had a lot of really high protein meals lately and you're just kind of feeling sluggish, it'd be a really good time to start trying some of the detoxzyme. If you don't have the essential zymes, start with this one and kind of cleanse the body out. Eat lots of raw fruits and vegetables cooked at a very minimal amount. When you cook, use like 1/8 of a cup of water and steam the vegetables, but don't throw out the water. Use the water to cook in as something else in. Right now, my dog she's more senior. I've been using that to cook some rice in it. So she's getting a lot of those enzymes and vitamins and minerals as well. Amylase, which is for the starches and the carbs and sugars, which we need to break those down. So people that, again, have a gluten intolerance, or maybe it's not totally a gluten intolerance, maybe it's just lacking the enzymes and they need to detoxify from that. This is one of those you can use. There is Invertase. It's basically break down sugars and converts the sugar to glucose, which our brain needs glucose, our body needs glucose to function, and as well as it breaks the sugars down into the glucose, which is, from your fruits. Natural fructose, good. Synthetic in a lot of other fruits or other products, when you see glucose, fructose, usually that's synthetic or like from some naturally derived, or too much of naturally derived is going to cause a problem as well. The lipase is for the fats. The phytase, again, is for the phytate in your fruits and vegetables that are most of the vegetables are really dark green. Bromelain, the lactase, again, the alpha galactose, that's a mouthful, but that one is the one for the beans, right? So if you're a chili person and people aren't really happy with you after, the beans, legumes, seeds, sometimes those cause people a problem. That's the other one where you're going to want to use the detoxzyme. So ultimately, this one, when you're going to use it, use this one if you feel that you kind of just need to be cleaned out. All right. Ed Daly is a nurse, and he's been with Young Living for quite some time on the education side of things. And he says he goes through and uses Detoxzyme quite regularly, and he kind of keeps it into a routine because you don't want to do something all the time and your body just then kind of starts to get a little bit not immune to it, but it doesn't reinforce the body systems. It actually kind of gives you a crutch. So what he does is he actually cycles between enzymes. Like he'll do one for 2 to 3 months, and then he will go into the other one, and he'll just cycle along. So then your body's getting a healthy dose of all the natural enzymes. Again, naturally derived is so important because we do have them in the body, but we can get them from the fruits and vegetables, right? So that's one of the biggest things I think people forget, is that just to change it up. It doesn't have to be one thing all the time. Again, like probiotics, really important, and taking those at bedtime so that it's not interfered in the body on a regular basis, or with other foods like it is on a regular basis throughout the day when you're eating. So if you take your probiotic at night, it's the last thing you consume. It's sitting in your body, going through the whole digestive tract. And again, don't stay with probiotic one kind all the time. Change it up. So go Life 9, go ImmuPro, and then find, if you want, another one that's a different brand but very good one, and then rotate them. Because then that way you're going to get a good healthy mix of different kind of probiotic bacterias, proper bacterias, right? So you know what? We end up having all these symptoms, and quite often it's because our digestive system is clogged. It's clogged, it's congested, it's just not healthy. There's lots of, gases, or it comes out in our skin, it comes out in our immune system. So taking these are one of the biggest things. So I'm going to so here's our kind of, it's pretty heavy there. I still probably put a bit too much water. I kind of botched this one, I think, before when I did a class. But so basically what's going to happen is this: I'm going to take some of the liquid. I put too much water before I put the capsules in. And you can just see how much water, or how these enzymes are going to do this. So we've got right? It should have been, I should have prepped it a little bit sooner and took out some of, maybe not made it with as much water, just so it's a little bit more intense, right? And I've done this a few times at different classes, but you basically put both of those in. And I'm going to empty it out just so that you can see what actually, you don't want to chew these, and you don't want to open them up as you consume them for yourself. You want to take them with your meal. So just give me a second, my butter fingers here. All right. That's the one. So one is animal-based. You can see. And then you can smell the fennel in that one. Fennel and here's the plant-based enzyme. I'm trying not to make a holy balls mess either. Okay, there's the other one. Okay. So as you can see, it's not pouring out of my bowl. So here's the, gonna mix it up and just let it sit for a minute. I don't know, whoever's watching, say hey, tell me if you've used the essential enzymes before, what you've noticed, if anything. I'm sure many have. And I've had actually quite a few people use them for traveling, and I've had quite a few people alongside Ninja Red use the essential enzymes and show how, and say how much of a big difference it made in eating their biggest meal of the day, and of how much actually their skin changed. Mainly because all that junk isn't sitting in your body, because let's face it, between bloating, gas, and let's face it, diarrhea can be a real big concern, and you can also get fatigue. So people that are really not feeling a lot of energy and feeling very sluggish, that can be why. So, I mean, if there's certain foods you used to eat and then now they really bother you, this could be something that can really help. Just our body needs them. There's just no way that we can really function without them. And you think about how many people on average, when we were at convention, Mr. Daly or Dr. Daly, whatever his, no, I guess he's a nurse. He's not a doctor. Sorry. Either way, he's very amazing. His knowledge level is phenomenal. He asked everybody in the room to stand up if they had, a certain, label of a health concern. And a couple people stood up, and he kind of went through the list. And there was just kind of random people standing sporadically throughout the room. And then when he said, who has digestive concerns, whether it's, and he went off on the whole list, almost the entire room was standing. And there was about 150 people in that room, at least. These were the breakout rooms during convention. So when you think about it, this is a very common thing. And many people struggle with finding the right foods and very concerned about what they can't eat or how their body feels after. So that takes the joy out of consuming amazing foods that we've been blessed with. So, here, I've got it all mixed up here. So I think the biggest thing is, you can see that, how we did have a big chunk before, and we got nothing but I better be careful because it's going to get all over my computer. So it didn't sit in there for very long, and I didn't have it super gooey, which I really should have. But you can just see the change in what happened to this oatmeal. This is what happens with your food then. So obviously with the plant-based one, the yellow one is your plant-based one. That one's going to get things broke down very quickly. And the protein that needs to sit in your tummy and move through and get broke down later on in the digestive tract is where the animal one, I'm pretty sure, sorry, just make sure I've got that right. Yes. Sorry. Opposite. The white one is your animal-based enzyme. White is your animal-based enzyme. The yellow is your plant-based enzyme. I just want to make sure before I quoted that for you. So that's what happens is it takes time, and you don't want those meats to ferment inside your tummy. And that's what happens when we don't have proper food combos or we don't have the enzymes. So anyways, as you can see, it's kind of proof is in the pudding or the oatmeal. It's pretty gross when you think about it, the fact of meat sitting or other foods or proteins sitting in your tummy fermenting. And don't combine meats with fruit. That is not going to help your cause. In fact, it's going to make it worse. So fruits are actually meant to have in the morning. And then your biggest meal, really, it would be great if you have your biggest meal in the afternoon. That doesn't always happen unless you're at work, go out for lunch, that sort of thing. But yeah, so I encourage you to have a look at enzymes if you have digestive discomforts. And if you don't, but you're at an age where you feel you're going to need that support. So as we age, it's just natural. We're going to need some more. So I encourage you to have a look at the Essential Enzymes 4. And if you feel that your body after, say, the winter time, I'm actually going to go all in on these between, I've been eating a little bit more of whole grains, just wintertime, the environment, the pollens, the dust, everything is out. Doing your detoxzyme is going to help just kind of clear things out. So anyways, please post your questions, post your topics. And for those of you that have any other ideas that you would like me to continue to chat about, please let me know. And again, comment below if you have tried the enzymes and how that changed for you, what you've thought about them, because it always helps when other people share their perspective and opinions. So until next week, have an amazing week. Take care and keep your questions coming. Thanks, guys.